quite often a mentee might be drawn towards a particular mentor because they're successful, they're a pro vice chancellor, they've won a lot of awards, etc. But that might not make a successful relationship. And I think it's down to the mentor to advise them where to seek the best mentor out.
One thing which I found was really critical in this journey was every mentor I have had in my life, they all cared for me. So for me, caring is extremely, extremely important. If you want to be a good mentor, you must care for your people, you must care for your mentee. So as a mentor, it's my responsibility to create that really welcoming, trustworthy, confidential environment so someone is absolutely free to share these things with me.
I think when talking about the role of a mentor, it's really important to draw upon their experience of the past mentorships that they've actually had successes in. Quite often that relationship can take some quite time to bed in. I think they need to be aware that there'll come a natural point where that relationship needs to end, or they need to pass them on to a different type of mentor.
Actually, there's a concept called reverse mentoring. The traditional idea is mentor is somebody who's senior, somebody who's influential, somebody who's gone through that journey, and they get to share their experiences and share the wisdom with the mentee, which is true to an extent. But in that process, as a mentor, I have realized that I've learned so much. It almost reinvigorates your passion for why you are there in academia as a broader scale thing. And then you learn lots of other things.
We often talk about student retention at university, but it's equally good for staff retention because it increases that sense of belonging and value add to the staff member. And of course, that's a really important thing for keeping staff on board and making them feel valued by their institution. Another important thing is it's not about notes and meetings and frequency. That's not what you're trying to do. And a lot of people fall into that trap. I've met with my mentor 20 times. I've written lots of notes, I've written reports, etc., etc. That's not what it's about. It's not about that kind of busyness. It's about achieving your particular goal, whether it's a promotion application, whether it's a fellowship, or whether it's an award. At the end of the day, whatever gets the job done is important. It's an opportunity for them to adopt your ideas and choose their own particular pathways. Remember, it's not about you telling them what to do.
I was based in New Zealand and the mentor I identified was based in Sydney. So what we decided was, how about we record our meetings? So it becomes an archive for me personally to reflect a little bit more on that. And it also helped me to prepare for the next meeting and what should be the next step. As a mentee, I took the lead in terms of deciding what the agenda should be. Have short, sharp, shiny, concise meetings. Feel free to discuss anything which your mentee or mentor wants. And also, feel free to reflect. There's a beautiful saying that we don't learn from experiences. And I was kind of puzzled when I read that statement. But the follow-up statement was, we don't learn from experience, we learn by reflecting on those experiences. So reflection has to be a fundamental part of this relationship, both for a mentor as well as for mentee.
Why I like technology-enabled mentoring is it does a lot of the lifting for you. It sets up the particular meetings. You don't have to be there writing notes. You can have the AI doing automated dictation. There's video recordings which the mentee can review. And of course, if you do want to bring in another mentor or another mentee to sort out particular disagreements, they can review that very, very, very quickly. Whereas when we tend to do things face-to-face, there's always an imposition on someone to write those particular notes out and it breaks up that relationship. I think a lot of disagreements between mentor and mentees can be brought about by not listening to one another. Doing mindfulness courses, I've become very aware of active listening. So quite often we switch off, we listen to only about 20% of what our mentees are saying, and vice versa. There's a lot of head nodding going on from our mentee listening to what we're saying. So I particularly enjoy technology-enabled mentoring because it's a recorded record there, and they can review that later on. So it just makes you immerse yourself in what's being said.
It's also important to then ask honest questions. Don't be afraid as a mentor to try and dig a little bit deeper by asking follow-up important questions. Nothing should be off the limits. If somebody is a lecturer, there is no reason why we can't talk about how to become a professor or how to become a vice chancellor for that matter, depending on the aspiration and ambition of the mentee you are having conversations with. If I'm meeting with my mentee for the first time, I may have mentored hundreds of people, but that doesn't mean that I can have this cookie cutter model where I can have the same responses for somebody else. Every single person, each one of us, we are unique. So I think on one hand side, it seems like you have a mentor and you have a mentee, and we should talk separately about those two things. But for me personally, they are absolutely interconnected and absolutely joined. So I would like to really encourage anybody and everybody, please seek some mentors. They can transform your life.